there's a cost for everything. If you have a supercar collection, you have to maintain that supercar collection. If you have a female collection, you have to maintain that female collection. It's a nightmare. But you're never going to have anything you care about that doesn't also stress you out. Anything that can evoke an emotional response in you can evoke the emotional response in both directions. There is no light without dark. So why would I do it? Well, females allow me to procreate. Females allow me to have children. So there is an end result. It's not just hedonism.
But the amount of females that you probably date and probably have children with, you know, it's a lot of life admin with that.
It's a lot of life admin, but you know, the best people in the world, what they're best at is basically life admin. I mean, think about, I don't want to change subject from myself, but look at Elon. He's done far more amazing things. He has 11 children from 4 women. He's the best Diablo player on the planet. He owns Twitter. He's going to space. He owns Tesla. He's now working for the government. It's amazing how much you can get done if you're genuinely dedicated to purely working.
But Elon stopped at 4 and Andrew hasn't.
No, I haven't, no. But I'm also not putting rockets in space, so I've got a little bit more time in the day. But yeah, it's life admin, but there's nothing here. Life is admin. Life is rented. I know exactly what you're saying, but I'm saying my philosophy is that you never own anything that you're not renting anyway. Your physical health is not something you have, it's something you rent. If you don't look after it, you lose it. Just like a house, if you don't pay the rent, you lose the house. It's the same with your business. If you don't look after your business, you lose the business, you lose your money. The same with women. If you don't look after the women, you lose the women. So do you have to sit there and attribute values to each thing and work out, is this worth the extra seconds in the day to maintain it? Well, out of the females, at least you can get children, and procreating is one of the most important things you can do. So I would argue that having a bunch of women who are prepared to have your children is an asset and an important one.
What was your net worth before you started having the multiple women and the multiple children with those women?
Well, that's the problem, because women are expensive. And the reason they're expensive is because time and money are the same thing. And if you're limited on time, the only way you can satisfy women you ain't got time for is for money. Right? That's the truth. Time and money are interchangeable. Well, I've had money for quite a while now. But I'm not saying women are only with me for money either, but I'm saying it's easier to have 20 girlfriends if you're rich. That's true.
Yeah, but how do you define rich? That's what I'm saying. Like, what is the number because you've lived this life, right? You started.
Well, I mean,
you were worth X amount when you started to live that.
Well, I had 2 or 3 girlfriends back when I was broke, but I was with them all the time. So when I was poor, I'd be with the girl all the time, or I'd live with her. But then when you get rich, you live with your boys and you do what you want, and you're not with the girl all the time because you don't want to be. So then you have to interchange it with something else. So to answer your question, it depends how many girls you have. It depends how much time you spend with them. You don't have to give girls money if you give them time. The thing is, if you have enough money, you don't value the money, and you'd rather give them money than give them time because you have other things that are more interesting to do, or another girl you want to see. So you'd rather say, sure, your rent is paid, stay there, and not see her. Now, I know that's probably counterintuitive to a lot of men out there.
But if you were to give a number,
it's very difficult for me to say. I'm pretty wealthy.
From your experience, I want the number.
It's hard to say. I don't know. Is it 1 million? Is it 2 million? Is it 5 million? Is it 10 million? What number is it? Depends on the girl you have. It's very subjective. I can't answer. It depends on the girl you have. It depends how much money you give her. It depends on the lifestyle she expects. It depends on how pretty she is. It depends on how much time you spend with her. It depends on lots of things. It's hard to say.
But based upon your experience, Adri.
My experience is that if you can afford to take care of a woman's life, you get a huge degree of leeway with what you're doing. And when I say take care of her life, I mean if her rent is paid, that she has enough money for food and the odd nice piece of clothing, and she has a car if she needs one. If you take care of her, so I don't know, in Romania that might cost 5,000 or 6,000 a month. In other countries it may cost 10,000, 15,000 a month. I don't know. But if you have enough money to take care of a woman, you have pretty high leeway. So depending where you live, if you take care of her, you can usually get away with most.
So what you're saying is then, by you moving your life earlier to Romania whilst you stacked your cash and made your money, that allowed you to achieve that earlier. So you achieved that at a lesser net worth than the lifestyle that you want, that you're predetermined in now. You achieve that at a lesser net worth than perhaps what you are right now, obviously.
Yeah, but this is actually a really interesting conversation because you have to be very careful with this because it's easy to be misunderstood. If you're in Dubai and you're just giving girls money and those girls want more money, especially the girls in Dubai, that is what they want. That is very different than a girl who wants your time, does love you, but you don't have the time to give her, so you replace the time with some money. That is very different than giving a girl money who wants money. They have to primarily want your time and want you, but you don't have it to give, so instead you replicate it and you give the next best thing, which is some money or a comfortable life. But I don't think my move to Romania allowed me to do that any easier. Previously, I simply had as many girls as I bothered to have or wanted to have. I just gave my time instead of my money. Whereas now, my time is so valuable. Let's say I have to make $100,000 in an hour. I'd rather spend that hour making $100,000 and give her a $500 present and then bank $99,900 and $500, whatever, and keep the extra money than sit around with her watching bullshit Twilight, because it's a waste of fucking time. So it gets to a point where the return on doing her crap just becomes zero. And it becomes, to a degree, not saying there's no love involved, because there is love involved, but it does become quite transactional. It does become like, look, I'm taking care of you, everything's taken care of, I'm busy. I love you, you love me, okay, you're loyal, I love you, bang, okay, I'm busy. Because you have more important things to do. Important men have important things to do. The things women want you to do aren't important. Nearly ever. It's bullshit. Now, if they have a loser man, then they'll yell at him to get off the couch, put the video games down, and go get some money. But if they have a man who's going out there getting money, they'll try and yell at him to come sit on the couch and watch a stupid movie. So that's just emails. It is what it is. They always want what they haven't got. That's fine. But for you, if you're going to sit there as a completely broke man, the only thing you have to offer a woman is your time, so you're going to have to give it to her. I mean, but if you have other things to offer, especially, and I know this is an unfair comparison to most people watching at home, but I'm also famous and I offer status. If a girl gets to see me once a month, she gets status, and I'm famous, and she gets a lifestyle, and she knows she's taken care of, and she knows she's with me. So I get a whole bunch of brownie points that allow me to not use my time. So I'm living in a cheap life. So because I have to use my time, I can have unlimited. I can have 100 girlfriends. I don't want to.
Which is a hell of a lot of admin.
Which is a lot. It's a lot of admin. But then you have to decide what you're doing it for, right? So if you're doing it just to show off, I mean, that's fun for a while, but it's really not worth it. If you're doing it so you can fill up a yacht like that, once again, it's fun for a while. It's really not worth it. The only thing that makes any of this worth it is children at the end.
So you know Dan Bilzerian quite well.
Yeah.
Dan's changed his whole thesis on this by living the hedonistic lifestyle. He's obviously getting closer to God now. He's finding God. He's finding purpose. But he says now. He openly said, I saw on the podcast the other week. He's talking about monogamy now. You would never talk about monogamy, would you?
No, I wouldn't. And I know Dan quite well, and I respect him a lot. He's a great guy, and I don't want to speak for him because he's his own man. However, his attitude towards women was never procreation. I think if Dan would have had 20 children across the last 5 years, he would be looking at monogamy right now. He'd actually be very happy with what he'd done, and he'd be considering making 20 more. So monogamy is perhaps what he wants to set up before he creates children. That's his choice.
So where you've approached it differently is you've gone, right, I will date multiple women, but I'll have children with multiple women as well. Whereas Dan said, okay, I will sleep with hundreds of women, but just to sleep.
I'm uninterested in sex for the sake of sex. I think it's pointless. If I'm going to have a girlfriend and we're going to sleep together, there has to be a chance of a child appearing. God can decide, but there should be a chance of a child appearing. That's what sex is for. I don't think it's interesting just in and of itself. I'm really over that. But before I die, I would like to have as many versions of me as possible on the planet. God will decide how many come. Women take 9 months to grow a whole baby because they're slow. It's their problem. And children will be made. That's the bottom line. And children will be made.
But good things take time.
Well, yeah, they do. But I mean, I can say some really controversial things. In fact, I'll say, let's go. So one of the primary reasons Western society as a whole is failing. One of the primary reasons it's failing is because men have been cucked by women into only having children. A woman will come along to a man and say, have my kids. I want kids. We're gonna have children. The man will go, okay, fantastic. Don't have kids with anyone else. Okay. And then he'll go and he'll work his ass off and he'll tries very fast, and she's like, okay, I need a nanny, and I need a bigger car for the kid, and we need a car seat, and the kid needs to go to piano lessons, we need a bigger house, we need a playroom, and he'll slave away to get 1 or 2 kids out of this woman. And then if he asks her for a third, she'll say no. I don't want to have any more kids, it's too hard, get pregnant's too hard, and we need another nanny, and I want to go on holiday, and I want a Birkin bag, I want Instagram likes. So this female and her whims, her emotions, her primary concerns, which a lot of the time are just showing off, have limited that man's genetic potential massively. Now, those are the most successful men in Western society. The least successful men don't have that problem. There's breaders on the street with no money, 9 baby mothers, taxpayers raising all of them, doesn't care. So who's reproducing? Think about it. Who's reproducing in Western society? It's not our best. It's actually the opposite. You wonder why immigration rates are getting out of control. You wonder why London's not white anymore. Well, that's because they have kids, the immigrants. And their wives, their women aren't saying, I need a bigger house and a nanny. No, their women just have children because that's their culture, to have kids. That's what they're for. Western women don't think that way. Western women are uninterested in having kids until they 32. I want to follow my career. What's your career? Instagram? What's your career? You're out every fucking night. Name a career. You haven't got one. What you want to do is follow the money, follow the bag, and go Maldives and take pretty pictures. That's what you want to do. So they're wasting their most fertile years on dumb shit. We talk about the population collapse in the West. This is exactly why. Because men are not like me to sit and say, I want children. I'll have a kid with you. Cool. And if you take too long to grow it, listen, 9 months is how long it's supposed to take. Double up. That's your problem. Get it done. If it takes too long, I'll have kids with her. Oh, but I don't want you to. Tough. Because my genetic legacy is more important than your feelings. When I'm dead and gone, they will talk about how many children Andrew Tate had. They will not talk about the fact that some chick cried and told him what to do, and he was scared of her getting mad at me. I'm not afraid of you. So I'm gonna have his kids with whoever the fuck I want. Like men have always done. That's all we've ever done. So the Western society now, the females have come to men. And to sit in there, only having kids with them. If you have a woman that says only have kids with me, the deal is, okay, have as many as I want. If you'll give me 20 children, if you'll be pregnant for the next 20 years, deal. But if you're gonna start saying, oh, one's enough, well then, sorry, the human race needs to, it's more, the human race, females in their narcissism, don't think outside of themselves. The human race and Western civilization is more important than your crybaby feelings. So we need children on the planet. We're literally collapsing. Get over it. That's the bottom line.
So what would you say to all the women listening to this podcast then that are entrepreneurial women that have got these e-commerce brands, they're doing a couple of million, there's quite a lot of women out there that's being successful in business. What would you say to them then? Because they're putting off being a mother to do the business stuff.
Well, I'd say congratulations on their success, and I'd say they should get pregnant at the same time. Think of all the things I can do simultaneously. I can be a convict and one of the most famous men on the planet simultaneously. Elon, as we just discussed, puts rockets in space and owns the largest electric vehicle company in the world, and now he's going to work directly for Doge, cleaning up the government all at the same time. A lot of it's just cope. A lot of it's just excuses. Females, I believe, have, I wouldn't say obligation because that's going to be used against me, but typically it was the men who build, and it was the women who provide the children. For Earth, men build the cities, men build the roads, men build, women give us the children. Well, birth rates are collapsing, and we've built more than we've ever built. So men are doing their job. Men are still building all these things, but we can't seem to get the kids we need. Now, the reason I'm saying all of this, because I know I'm going to be attacked for it, but it is what it is. This is only a Western world phenomenon. This is not the case in many places on the planet. This is what's so interesting when you talk about geopolitics. I have so many people come to me and they're Western nationalists or they're white supremacists. I talk to everybody on all ends of the spectrum. I talk to a hard liberal, I'll talk to a Nazi, far-right white supremacist, even as a mixed-race man. I talk to everybody. And the white supremacists are saying they don't want Africans coming into their country and they don't want their country to be less white. And I said, well, you don't have a choice, because if you let one African couple in, they're gonna have more children than 50 of your couple. Like on a long enough time frame, it's just math. It's just numbers. So we now have a society where women have been liberated from their obligation. And we've asked them, okay, you don't have to have children, which is your traditional obligation. What do you want to do instead? And let me ask you, and I'm going to ask you a question.
Here we go.
Women have been unchained, unshackled from their original obligation, which was reproduction. What have they done of merit since?
Become real estate agents in Dubai.
Well, there you go. You have Instagram models, you have porn stars, you have girls going to work, doing a job, which truthfully a man could do better, and we all know it. What are they doing instead that matters as much as children? Or have they done anything at the same level as reproducing?
There's nothing in my mind that matters as much as them being able to have children if they want children.
Absolutely.
I understand that. But I know some phenomenal entrepreneurial women
Completely.
that listen to this podcast as well that have also done some mad stuff.
Absolutely. And here's
So there's polarity in that.
no, of course, but here's where we get into the difference between the man and the female, the masculine and the female mind, because females will think exceptions just prove the rule. Men don't. When you talk about subjects like this, there's going to be a woman watching this who's very successful who's going to be insulted because she's an exception to the general rule.
Yeah.
But that's not the point. When you talk about geopolitics, when you talk about population collapse across a nation, you can't talk about exceptions to the rule. If I talk about the fact that the Western typical family in Britain doesn't have many children, and that's why the population's collapsing, it's asinine to turn around and say, here's one family that has 10 kids. Yeah, that is one family that has 10 kids. But we're talking geopolitically, and we're talking about society as a whole. We're talking about the trend as a whole. You're right. Some women are fantastic entrepreneurs. Agreed. However, the majority of breeding age females do not have children, not because they're fantastic entrepreneurs. It's because they're doing fuck all. They're scrolling TikTok, they're pissing around, they refuse to have kids, they don't want to, they want Birkin bags and Instagram likes, and they're doing nothing at all important. That's the reality of it. Now, before everyone says I'm blaming women, we can also blame men, because there's a whole bunch of men who don't want to have kids.
Well, men allow that to happen. Men allow them to walk through life and buy the Birkin bags, because if they're an attractive female and that's the kind of life they're living, whether they're living in Dubai, the Miamis, or all these places in the world, and they're living that kind of life, it's men that are allowing that to happen, so it's the man's fault.
There's no light without dark. It's equal the man and the woman's fault. It's equal. It's both sides. I understand why women are going to be watching this and, well, why would I just have kids with some random guy? How do I know he's going to take care of me? Completely true. You need a man to take care of you, and you need a man capable of taking care of you.
But how can it be a woman's fault? Because a man's men are leading the world and leading life.
Well, we have a lot of girls. Well, we just discussed it, right? We just talked about how they get together with a man and they're going to limit his genetic possibilities.
But that man has allowed her to limit his genetic possibilities. So that man is at fault, not the woman.
Well, and this is the thing, because now you have competing interests. So, and this is the thing that most people don't understand about having genuinely intellectual conversation. When you talk about one subject, now we're talking about female birth rates, right? Yeah. We can talk about it from the perspective of geopolitics. We can talk about the perspective of race. We talk about it from the female perspective, the masculine perspective. They're all different perspectives, and they all have competing obligations. This is what's interesting. So the man, I know what you're saying. A woman will sit and say, well, I can't just have kids with anyone because I need to be taken care of, and I don't just want to be left with a baby by myself. Completely agree. A man will sit and say he doesn't want to have kids for other reasons. And then a country will sit and say, well, we need children, so we have to find a way to make it work. So you have all these competing viewpoints and competing objectives.
But I know that me and you sat here accept that everything in our lives is our fault.
Correct.
Both the positive and the negative.
Correct.
So if that's the truth then, and that's how that you teach every man to live their life, regardless of whether the female decides to have children or not, or this, that, and the other.
It's his fault.
It's his fault.
Well, yeah, because everything I said at the beginning of this podcast about the fact that you get what you deserve from the universe. If you're the kind of man who deserves 20 children, you're going to get them. If you're the kind of man who doesn't, you're not. I mean, if you're going to sit there and listen to and not be able to find a female to have your progeny, that's your problem. And if the female you're with that spend every day with and walk around IKEA with, picking out fucking towels, won't give you as many kids as you want, well, then you're a dipshit. That's, again, your problem. It's not my problem. But it's their problem. And I'm just saying, when I was talking from a geopolitical standpoint. I understand why women watching this will sit and say, well, why should I just have children with who? None of these men want to take care of me. And then we go down the other rabbit hole of why men want to take care of women in the first place. Men want to protect women when they see innocence and naivety, and they find that attractive, and they want to protect it from the outside world. A man wants to find a woman and say, you don't understand the world, I'm going to protect you, and I'm going to provide for you, and I'm not going to allow you to go out there and be coarsened by the earth. I'm not going to allow you to be scarred. If they meet a woman who's already coarsened, they have no interest in protecting and providing for her.
Does the fact that, you know, females have inherently raised their promiscuity in the world, does that's affected a lot of this, hasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Because
the market value of a quote unquote female would go down if she's been more promiscuous.
Well, yeah, she's been coarsened by life. Her heart's not the same as it was. A woman only falls in love once or twice. After that, it's just pay the bills. So she doesn't love the same. This is what's so interesting about the feminism movement, because feminism, what has it given women? Truthfully, what has it given? Before feminism, a man met a woman, they got married. The man had an obligation to take care of that woman. Even if they argued, whatever. She got pregnant, she went to a house, he had an obligation to take care of her. He wasn't allowed to just fuck around and have all these girls. Feminism gave men that access. By telling women they can choose to do whatever they want and remove their obligations to be housewives and have children, They said, now you can do whatever you want. Well, now women are sitting there going, I can do whatever I want. We all want that guy. Well, then that guy gets all the choice. So now that guy gets to share you all. That was feminism's result. Feminism put women in a position now where they have two choices. They can go and compete against men in the workforce and lose. We can do DEI hires. We can give them HR jobs. We can pretend that they work, but they don't. They'll never get rich like a man will. Or they can go and try and compete for the best men on the planet who have unlimited choice with younger and more beautiful women forever. So feminism's put women in a very difficult position. It was easier before feminism when they knew they had an obligation to just get married and that man had an obligation to take care of them. The whole point of marriage, you talk about promiscuity, the whole point of marriage in the first place was a very simple business transaction. I'll take care of you for the rest of your life, but you're gonna listen to me, you're gonna give me children, and you haven't been with any other man. That's the deal. If you're coming along as a woman saying, I've been with loads of other men, I'm not going to give you kids, and I don't listen to no man. Well, who is going to marry you? There's no trade. That's why marriage is gone, right? So you're right. We have two different competing sides. As a man, what's the most intelligent move you can make on the chessboard? Let's forget everything I've said that's offended everybody, and let's just approach this as professionals, as thinkers. You're a man. If you tie yourself to one woman, she can financially destroy you. That doesn't sound logical. Why would you do that if you already have sexual access to her? You already have sexual access to her. She's been with a bunch of men before you. She can't truly fall in love anymore because she's had too much heartbreak. Because that's what happens. Every single time a woman sleeps with a guy and she doesn't stay with him, she gets a little bit more cold. You're not going to risk your entire net worth on that. You also, if you're the kind of person who's successful, you have access to not only her, you have access to a bunch of females that pretty much look the same as her. You know that you're going to be attractive to females for the next 25 years. She's only attractive for the next 5 or 6 years. And she's saying she won't give you as many children as you want. Why on earth would a man be loyal to or get married to any of these women ever? And this is a logical conversation. Because I ask women, what do you offer? Oh, but I'm me. Okay, that's the narcissism they have to operate within, with their head in the clouds. Because they can't answer the question correctly. What do you offer a man enough to make him want to dedicate his life and fortune to you? Now, if you have some exclusives, I've never been on a private jet before, I've never been in a Lamborghini before, I've never been on holiday without my family, I haven't slept with anyone, fine, now the man gets something that other men haven't got. But even you and I know, as the masculine imperative, we don't want what other men have had. We don't want a used car, we want a new car.
Damages his value.
That's right.
But you say about their narcissism saying, oh yeah, but you get me. But what about them saying that you'd be a narcissist by saying what you're saying right now?
Well, the reason I'm sure they would. And I've been called narcissist a few times, believe it or not. But the difference is, a man protects and provides. He gives genuine provision, which can be measured in the materialistic world.
I think what you're trying to say is here.
No, what I'm trying to say is, a woman will say, you get me. And you'll say, what does that mean? And she'll go, I send you funny TikToks. Great. You get me. What does that mean? Your rent's paid, you're on jets, you get to fly around the world. Any problem you have, I fix it. You're physically safe. Like, there's a list of real things if you're with a billionaire man. Whereas a woman is just a you get me. What does she give you? She gives you sex, back rubs, some happy messages, which is nice. I'm not saying that's insignificant. I'm not even saying that's unimportant. I'm saying that most women can't even explain to you why they're a catch. They just go through life only being judged by their looks. That's all they have, their looks. That's all they want to have, their looks. They keep sleeping with guys and they don't realize why it doesn't work out until they become heartless and bitter, and then they chase the bag and try and just get some money before they get old and ugly. That's just what happens. Feminism did that.
In terms of a man's value and a woman's value, from your perspective, what are the prime ages for a man and what are the prime ages for a woman?
I mean, I think men are more attractive when they are wiser and established. I mean, what does a woman find attractive in a man? She finds charisma and security and financial capability, wisdom, knowledge, humor. All of these things take time to build. So men are more attractive, and they're probably the most attractive 35 to 50 maybe. Whereas what does a man find attractive in a woman? Naivety, innocence, fertility, inexperience, innocence. Innocence is the key one. Men love an innocent woman. They don't want a woman who understands the game too well. They love innocence. But women don't stay innocent for very long because men fuck them over. And life fucks them over. I'm not being anti-women. I'm just commenting. So a woman's going to be attractive younger than a man is.